sound the alarm. On Sunday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when you're peacefully going about your business, His Majesty's government will alarm you, deliberately and pointlessly. It will be a test of a system that can alarm you in future. I'll be switching mine off, and let me explain why. First of all, as it happens, on Sunday I will be at a memorial service for the first casualties in Operation Market Garden. It's in a field in Farrington Gurney, though very near Poulton, and a lot of the people of Poulton go to this memorial. And the glider detached from the plane that was taking it over to the continent, and the glider filled with ammunition exploded, and all on board were killed. The commemoration starts at 2. I'll be speaking at it, and it would be sad if the event were disrupted by a loud clamour just as it's coming to an end, and perhaps we're singing the national anthem or even having a minute's silence. So I'll be switching it off this year because I think it's intrusive and unnecessary at that particular event. But I'll also be switching it off generally and permanently. Why? Because I don't trust government warnings. You see, governments always want to control populations, and one of the ways they do this, to control our behaviour, to guide us, to nudge us, is to use warnings to get us to do what it wants, to behave in a certain way for its convenience, not necessarily for ours. On how many occasions, for example, have you been driving along the motorway and seen a flashing sign that says, "Report of pedestrians slow"? I've seen them many times, and I've never seen a pedestrian, so you slow down pointlessly. How many times have those flashing signs warned you of a queue ahead where there is no such queue, or suggested a lower speed limit, a voluntary lower speed limit, not on the smart motorways where they're compulsory, when there's no delay, no obstruction? Sometimes you think they must just be testing the sign. Or at the other end of it, how often have you been stuck in a tailback, unable to move, with the overhead gantry saying that the speed limit is 50 miles an hour, that you couldn't possibly do, though you probably would quite like to? Governments give fake warnings. It's not only on the motorways, it's also the Meteorological Office that has started naming storms to get us all very nervous and worried about storms coming, when most of them pass perfectly normally and naturally as part of weather events. Why do they do it? Well, I think it's basically a political reason. I think they've given 108 warnings this year, and it's to get us in a sense of fervour about climate change. The Meteorological Office, to my mind, is essentially a campaigning wing of the green movement to terrify us into changing our behaviour, switching our lights off, doing all those sorts of things, trying to save the planet, rather than thinking more optimistically about the technological solutions that there may be and the way that mankind has always managed to control its environment. So it's used politically, not for the purpose for which it was intended. And then there's the ghastly nannying. You all know I'm devoted to Nanny. Nanny clocks up 60 years working in the Rees-Mogg household on the 20th of September. So I may bring her onto a YouTube video on that day. I'll see if she's up for it. But leaving that aside, the nannying that you get from these bossy messages. Over the summer, it was a little bit warm. We had a few days when the temperature was in the 80s, which at least sounds warm, unlike centigrade, which always sounds a bit chilly in comparison. Never mind. My liking of Fahrenheit is not really the point. And they told us to wear a hat and to drink water. Well, call blimey governor. I mean, the statements of the obvious are so infuriating. Intelligent people can get on with their lives. They don't need this constant array of messages. I know somebody who got one of these messages in relation to a storm that was coming that said there might be power cuts. Well, this actually, for an elderly person, is quite frightening. You don't want elderly people to be worrying about power cuts that almost certainly won't happen. And that's why I shall be switching off the alert. I don't want it. I don't need it. I think governments will abuse it. It's all part of nudge theory. It's how do you control people? How do you get them to do what the government wants them to do rather than what they want to do for themselves? And bear in mind, nudge theory was used by the blob, by the civil service, to persuade the then Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, to wear a mask during COVID. Boris didn't like wearing a mask, nor, to be honest, did I. And the government therefore decided, whoever that may be other than the Prime Minister, to show him pictures of other world leaders wearing masks to nudge him into feeling that it was the right thing for him to do. If the blob is nudging the democratically elected leader to control his reactions and his behaviour, how much more willing do you think it is to nudge us to do what it wants? And therefore, we shouldn't give in to this. We should maintain our own independence of thought and action and not take these childish warnings. Now, how do you turn it off? Well, I've got an iPhone. It's really very straightforward. You go to Settings, you go to Notifications, you go right down to the bottom of the notifications, and you just move the little button, two little buttons actually, to the left, and that switches it off. You won't be disturbed. I'm trying to do it for Nanny, as it happens, to switch it off on her Nokia. I haven't worked out how to do that, but there may be something on the internet that will tell me. But don't be bullied by a government, don't be panicked by a government, don't listen to these alerts that will start off pretending that they're going to be about the most serious things in the world, but they won't be. Just give it a few years and it will be about the most trivial things, just to get the government to persuade you to change your behaviour slightly. I don't want to be nudged, I don't want to be nannied, I don't want to be bossed about. Frankly, I don't like being told what to do, so I'm going to do my bit to stop it, and I'd encourage you to do the same. Thank you for listening.